Hi and welcome back. In this final video we're going to look at taking your cleaned and processed take and exporting it to a 3D package. So the first thing we need to do is just double check and make sure the data has been processed. So to do that we can either scrub through the animation, looking for any noise or gaps, or finally having a look in the continuity chart and making sure we haven't got any gaps. Things look good there. Okay. So there's a couple of options to export. We can either export as C3D into a Vicon package, like Blade for example, or we can export straight to an Autodesk product using FBX. So I'm going to look at using FBX, and I'm going to call this file Tim Cleaned. Okay, so that's exported the FBX. Now one thing to note is that the cameras as well as the timecode, which you can see down here, all gets exported as part of this process. So if you're capturing full performance data with body, it's easy to sync the face and the body back up together. Okay, so we could go straight into Maya, but I'd just like to show you how to take the data into Blade. So if you wanted to filter the data or possibly stabilize the face data, if there's a lot of movement on your subject, maybe they're running across the volume for example, within Vicon Blade we can import the FBX, and here you can see the markers come in along with the cameras, and we have the correct time code here down at the bottom. So there's a couple of scripts I can run. One is a basic filter on the data, so it's just important to make sure you keep these settings very low, because the face marks are actually localized and there's not much movement on them, so you don't have to filter them very much. So I'm just running a very low pass filter here. Okay. And then finally we can use this stabilize script, which you'll find either as part of the install or in the sample data, and this script requires you to select some stabilized markers. So in this case I'm just going to select the four larger markers that were at the back of the face and the stab marker here in the middle, and I'm going to run this script. So stabilized markers need to be on areas of the face where there's the least amount of movement as possible. So these 5 markers give us a good localized, rigid body that we can create on the face. And there we can see the cleaned and stabilized points ready to be exported. So we could either export these again using FBX and take them into Motion Builder or Maya or Max or whatever package you're going to be using, but I'd like to show you how to directly take the data from CaraPost into Autodesk Maya. So I'm just going to load up Maya now. Of course, the advantage of using FBX is it can be taken into a multitude of different packages. So I'm just going to browse to my sample data folder. Here's my FBX. Okay, now in Maya there's a couple of FBX import settings you need to be aware of. First one is to make sure that you're adding, not just updating your animation. We also need to make sure that we're filling the timeline, so that will bring in the whole animation take and fill the timeline with that data. And the final one is make sure that you have optical markers selected. So optical markers will be created from your data coming out of CaraPost. Okay, so we'll just go click OK. And here we can see we've got our cameras, we've got our brim, and we've also got our face points. So in Maya I can just scale these up to make them easier to see. So everything gets put under a Cara root parent node, and we have brim markers, face markers, and the cameras. So I can just scale these up independently. Something like 5 seems to work pretty well. Okay, so now we can see our face markers, and we can see the animation being driven in Maya. So this data is now ready to be used on your face solving package, whatever you'd like to use. Okay, that's it for this last and final CaraPost video. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you've learnt some interesting features and workflows on how to use CaraPost, and we'll see you soon.